Hello, welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your co-hostess and pro-incineration propagandist, Drusilla Adeline.
Yeah, I wondered what you were going to do for this movie. It's a hard one, huh?
Nah. Pinned butterfly collector, I think also works.
How are you?
I'm quite well. I had a really relaxing weekend. I have had a little bit more of a, less to do of late, despite the, general hoopla in my life and around the world. So I've at least been able to, I've barely watched, any movies this week, which feels very weird. I had a very work-heavy week leading up to this point, which meant I had a lot of psych and blue collar and white collar on in the background, because apparently my TV is set to USA Network 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, you're not alone. Apparently the number one show on Netflix is Suits right now.
Sure.
So you're
I think
not
they
alone.
just really care about the royal family. I think that might be why.
Because Meghan Markle's in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That kind of comfort TV is a good background stuff. I've been watching a lot of the Ellery Queen mysteries. While I've been working. I found apparently they're very hard. They're not streaming. They're out of print. It's a TV show from the 1970s based on the book series from the 20s, 30s?
Right.
By Ellery Queen, in massive air quotes, but this is an audio format, so you can't see me doing that. But it's written by two authors under the pseudonym Ellery Queen, but the main character was also was an author named Ellery Queen who solved mysteries.
So it's like Lemony Snicket.
Very much so.
Yeah, got it.
And I love that kind of stuff. And they made a TV series on NBC in the 1970s with Jim Hutton, who's Timothy Hutton's father. He was very young, and he died very young. But is created by the same guys who made Columbo and Murder, She Wrote.
Oh.
And every episode, they lay out all the information you're ever going to need to solve the case. And then, 10 minutes before the ending, Jim Hutton turns to the camera and says, I figured it out. Have you? It might be this or this. Remember the lollipop. That was an important thing. And you're like, oh, that's fun.
That's cute.
It's very, very, very cute. I found a DVD of it at a record store a month or so ago for $10, but it's very out of print and hard to find, which is a crime. It should be Peacock, it's an NBC show. What are you doing? Slap it up there with Poker Face.
Yeah.
It is so good. But it's the best kind of comfort thing I can have on when I'm just churning out comps and working as hard as I can.
Yeah.
But I did get to see one movie this week. I was invited by a mutual friend of ours, friend of the show, Darren Stein, and ran into multiple friends of the show, Christian Tucci and Michael Verratti. He hosted a screening of the 1987 unavailable Canon Films, prestige Canon Films film, Shy People, with Barbara Hershey and Jill Clayburgh. Oh my god, this movie is was only released in tape back in the 80s. Okay. It was Barbara Hershey coming off her Oscar win for Hannah and Her Sisters. Jill Clayburgh hadn't been in movies in 10 years since An Unmarried Woman, and it was directed by Andrei Konchalovsky, who had just made Runaway Train. It was a big successful international Russian filmmaker who is currently still making important Russian art house movies in Russia. He just made Dear Comrades a few years ago that Neon put out. And it's this weird 80s new wave melodrama about a chic New York businesswoman and reporter and her daughter who was obsessed with The Cure and the Talking Heads, who go down to visit their Bayou relatives who live in the deepest part of the swamp in Louisiana that even the police don't want to go back to their part of the swamp. played by Barbara Hershey with really ratty little teeth. And her 3 sons, one of which she keeps locked up in the tool shed at all times, even though he's the handsome one who looks like Luke Wilson. And it's really, really weird. And it's very good, and it's very melodramatic, and the performance is very good. And then you also get, like, these bursts of, like, sort of American surrealism and little bits of, like, ghost story and folklore. Ooh. It reminds me of Eve's Bayou if it was made by the director of Mommy Dearest.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like, it's got some camp elements to it. I mean, right. Jill Clayburgh spends the whole movie in these, like, tight-fitting little, like, business suits with the broadest shoulders you've ever seen, smoking a cigarette in a cigarette holder, doing, like, a Joan Rivers impression, while she's, like, swatting away, like, gnats and stuff, and being like, I see, you're missing 7 teeth. And you're like, ooh, got it. And the score is by Tangerine Dream for some reason. And so you'll just be getting, like... It was the 80s. You'll just get, like, calm sounds of the swamp and visions of them sitting on the porch, and then they'll be like, let's hop in the boat and go to town. And then while they're in the boat, it's, like, super fast editing, and you're like Tangerine Dream music, and you're like, okay. It's quite good. It is, you know... I don't think it's a lost masterpiece, but I think it's very much an important film of the 80s. And just a great performance by the entire cast. I mean, Jill Clayburgh's incredible.
Yeah, of course.
We also get Mare Winningham from...
Oh my god, I love her.
From Miracle Mile. We also get Martha Plimpton as the New Wave daughter.
Oh, that's so cool.
Who has a harrowing scene in a talking head shirt against a giant vat of honey.
Okay.
It's... really worth checking out. It's streaming for some reason on Tubi with ads.
Oh, great.
And it's on Classic Flicks, which I think you have to subscribe to, but that doesn't have ads. But yeah, it's only been available on VHS for years and years and years, and it's finally, like, popping up places. So here's hoping that, like, someone like Fun City or Kino Lorber or someone like that puts it on disc soon.
Yeah, I was really... I'm really sorry I didn't go to that screening. I was invited by Christian, but I had anxiety about it for weird reasons, and I had kind of a weird week. I also was rewatching a comfort TV show. I've been rewatching 6 Feet Under, which is one of my favorite TV shows ever. And
fitting for today's episode.
Yes. And my whole week was sort of marked by this because, like, I'm in the final season, which is, if you've seen the show, is pretty harrowing. I mean... So this isn't really a spoiler. I think this is, like, widely known pop culturally that the main character Nate dies about 4 episodes before the end of the series, and it's very sad and sudden. And when I finished that episode with my boyfriend, I had a text from my friend back home that our high school friend passed away during a surgery. And this is not to make this episode, like, sad and about me. I'm just, like, trying to describe the week that I had. And it's somebody I hadn't spoken to in probably 10 years. So it's just, like, a weird thing more than it is, like, you know, I'm not, like, devastated and crying in bed all day long. So don't worry about me. So that happened. And then I watched this movie that we're going to talk about today. And I was like, what is in the air? Also, like, I just happened to notice, like, on Instagram and places like that, like, a lot of friends... pets are dying right now, and it's just like, why is everything around me dying right now? What is going on in my life? So I kind of am going down a weird path with this that I didn't mean to go down. It's just, like, been a weird week of, like, thinking about mortality all the time. But I did watch a movie. I went to a friend's screening a couple of weeks ago and rewatched a movie I'd seen many times before, which was Friday the 13th 5, A New Beginning. I am a child of the 80s. These are some of the first movies that I really loved, some of the movies that got me into horror. In the past couple of years, though, I gotta say, as much as I love the first 2 Friday movies, I went to a screening last year of 4 with my boyfriend who had never seen it, and he was there for this screening, and I kind of got to watch it through his eyes, and I could feel him hating these movies. And I was like, I get it. And to be honest, I'm not into this. Like, if this were a movie coming out now, I would hate it if I saw it at all, which I probably wouldn't. And I just feel like maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm done with franchise films. Maybe, as much as I have nostalgia for the aesthetic of these movies and the beats of these movies, maybe I can just, like, let them go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I also think, maybe fairly unfairly, that Part 5 is one of the worst horror sequels ever made.
Oh boy, it has one saving grace, which it has a new wave character who does the robot named Violet, who's cool. And she's truly just minding her own business, the movie. It should not have been killed. It's not fair. But the whole movie is so hateful and disgusting and kind of racist, and it's got some unfortunate hillbilly tropes. Like, fatphobic, just like, and I'm not sanctimonious about these things.
And the ending's lame.
Oh my god, the ending is so bizarre. But so if I'm complaining about something being like tasteless, it's really tasteless.
Yeah.
I really hated it when I was rewatching it, and I was like, what? This is so surprising.
It was one of the first Friday movies I ever saw.
Yeah.
Which is probably not a good thing. I think it may have been the first one that I saw in full. Because I think like the AMC network used to like marathon them around Halloween. And when I was growing up, I was like in elementary school or some shit. And I was like, I should watch these, right? And that was the one that was on the one day that I decided to watch one. And I was like, this sucks?
It's bad.
What is this? And then the like twist ending happened, which I guess I won't spoil. But I was like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It took me years to finally watch the first one, and I was like, oh, okay, that's good. But like, yikes. So I've kind of, always been turned off to a lot of franchise horror films. Typically, there's always the big horror movies that everyone knows and loves, and they specifically know the killers from Texas Chainsaw, Friday, Halloween, Nightmare. And when I was growing up, I would watch the first of those movies and then no more. I would watch the first ones.
That's smart.
Because they were acclaimed and they were culturally important, and I would watch those and then I'd be done. Yeah. And it took me until very recently to finally be it took me until in college I was like, oh wait, Halloween 2 is good. Halloween 3 is very good and very different. And then, I saw some of the, I think Nightmare 3 and 4, and I was like, oh, those are very good, and New Nightmare is very good. Okay, I still haven't seen Nightmare Part 2, which I think is a homophobic crime on my part, apparently.
It's a very homophobic movie, and kind of in a fun way, to be honest. I had just rewatched it because my boyfriend, speaking of this, watched Nightmare for the first time and really liked it. And then a week later, we went to a friend's house and watched Nightmare 2, and he was like, oof, what a drop-off. The drop-off in quality is extreme. And that's normal for franchise movies.
That's normal. Yeah, I mean, again, the few times where you're like, but this one's good, but this one, they're always outliers, and they're always doing something radically different. Yeah, Child's Play is very good. Child's Play 2 is pretty good. Bride of Chucky is incredible. And, Seed of and those movies are great, but that's, Don Mancini's a fucking outlier. Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is a fucking outlier in every way, shape,
Scream is an outlier. I mean, Scream, we disagree on which is the worst Scream movie, but whichever one you say, the worst Scream movie is better than most of the Friday the 13th movies, most of the Halloween movies,
Oh, yeah. I remember I was in high school, and I had seen Halloween. I'd probably seen Halloween, too, and I was I was in a band, and we'd always spend the night together on weekends and stuff like that, and watch horror movies. And we were what are we gonna watch tonight? And they were let's watch a horror movie. And we were flipping through Netflix, and the only Halloween movie they had was I want to say Part 6, the one that they just did the producer's cut on. I think it's got Paul Rudd in it.
Resurrection? Is that
not Resurrection? Called? That's the
This is the Thorn Cult. The Thorn Cult.
Thorn Cult. Yeah, it's the end of the Thorn trilogy. It was that one, which I think is 6. It's part 6. And we put that on, having not seen any of the movies in between. I'd maybe seen Halloween 2. And it immediately opens with, people in robes chanting around a thing and, trying to resurrect Michael Myers or something like that. And we were all this is fucking stupid, and just turned it off.
Do you know what sequel is good, though? I believe that you haven't seen this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Friday the 13th Part 2 is
I've not seen it.
So good. It's the
I've
best of the
not seen
series,
it.
in my opinion.
Okay, that's the one where he's got... I think I've seen parts of it as a kid.
He's got the burlap sack on his head.
Because I remember watching AMC as a kid and seeing, like, snippets of those movies and seeing, like, him chasing a girl out of, like, a barn, I want to say.
Could
where
be.
he's got, like, a big pitchfork and stuff.
The pitchfork and barn is probably Part 3.
Okay. I also, when I was growing up, my uncle would kind of take me out and was kind of a big like father figure in my life. And he would like tell me about horror movies. He's the one who like got me to watch Psycho, who got me to watch The Birds by like sitting me down and showing them to me. And I remember, I don't know what prompted this, but we were like sitting outside of a hockey rink at one point and he was like, "Oh, Friday the 13th, it's pretty good. But then in the 80s, we got Friday the 13th 2, and that's when things got really messed up. And then Friday the 13th Part 3, you know what they did for that one? They did it in 3D. And I was like, oh my god, this blows my mind. And I'm like, you know, in my late 20s, I still haven't seen it because I'm like, that sounds bad.
2 is really good because it strikes the right balance between the first one, which is kind of like a Fellini movie at this point. It's like so classy compared to everything that followed it.
Well, it's just a Bava knockoff, the first one.
Yeah, it's true. It strikes the right balance between that and the later sequels, which were so trashy. So you have more kills than the first one. It is Jason instead of his mother. But it's the only one that's actually scary. And it has Amy Steele as a final girl, who's the best of the entire franchise, who's a really, truly great actor and really good in the movie, really charming in the movie. So I'd watch it. It's worth it.
I should. We're getting to the Halloween season, and I'm doing my best to watch more horror movies I've never seen before. And I do eventually need to do said sequels, but I fear them, and not in the way I should. I don't know. I also have a hard time with like camp set with slashers in general. I find so sleepy and so boring. The occasional like bangers will of course like catch my attention. Like I love My Bloody Valentine. I love Black Christmas. I think Silent Night, Deadly Night's very, very, very good. There's like a handful of them that I'm like, no, these are great, but the glut of the 80s is really not for me. But like I love Sleepaway Camp, and for me, any other camp slasher, and there's a lot, doesn't stack up. Like I know a lot of people champion The Burning as well, and I couldn't get into it. It's not for me.
It's not my favorite either, but I do love that genre because, you know, I'm in my 40s. I am a child of the 80s. It's where I entered this fandom, basically. So for me, it will always have that nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't care about new slashers coming out. I'm like, you know, as a formula, I'm kind of done with it. But I do have love for those old movies, I guess is where I am.
I feel like there's a way to update the slasher these days that's not just recreating the 80s slasher.
Yeah, I mean, look, my best friend is Michael Kennedy, who wrote Freaky, which I thought did that really well.
Which did that very well. The latest Scream movie, I think, did that quite well.
I think it can be done, but in general, I'm not here for like a run-of-the-mill slasher anymore.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're not getting your pre-advance ticket for Eli Roth's Thanksgiving?
I will never see that movie as long as I live, Drusilla. I rage sat through that trailer when it came out a couple of days ago. Never in 1 million years or for $1 million will I see Thanksgiving by Eli Roth.
It's just very funny to me that the actual trailer for the actual movie that is now actually being released is worse than the fake trailer he made 15 years ago in the like Grindhouse film.
Love the trailer in Grindhouse. Will not see the movie.
Yeah. For listeners who don't know, Eli Roth is a poo-poo man who we do not like.
I don't know anything about him as a person. I just don't like his movies.
I don't like his movies, and I don't really like him as a person. But
he's the reason why the 2000s were such a bad decade for horror. It's him. He's the culprit.
And James Wan.
Wan, let's be real. But James Wan sort of redeemed himself in my mind.
Did he?
He's made a lot of movies since then that I've enjoyed.
Did he?
Anyway.
That you have enjoyed.
That I have enjoyed. Let's get to the point. Let's talk about a better movie.
Let's talk about one of the best movies.
God, this movie ruled. I loved it so much. Today we are discussing a movie from 1969 from former Czechoslovakia, directed by Uri Hertz. It is The Cremator.
Nikdo nebude trpět, spasím je všechny. Tady jsem ti přinesl přihlášku do strany. Že i my patříme k tomu vyvolenému národu.
I loved this. This was your pick. It's on Criterion right now, listener, so you can go and watch it. You could also rent it on Apple if you don't have the Criterion
It's probably
channel.
available through HBO Max. With so many of the Criterion Channel stuff are over there.
This fucking ruled.
Ruled.
Loved it. How did this enter your periphery?
Through Criterion. So way back in the day when Criterion's only streaming option was Hulu. They had a bunch of they had like a lot of their catalog on there, but then they also had a bunch of films that they hadn't released before on there that they had the rights to. And one of them was The Cremator, and the title and the stills from it, I was always like, that looks fucking insane. And so it had always been on my radar as like, and I'd gotten into Czech film around the same time when I was in high school, kind of going into college. I'd seen like Valerie and her Week of Wonders and Daisies, and gotten very, very, very bit by the bug. And I love Czech films. I love Milos Forman's Czech films, like The Fireman's Ball and Loves of a Blonde. And so I was very excited by the prospect of such a like genre-focused and to a degree Czech film in the same vein as something like Valerie and her Week of Wonders. And then I didn't see it for a while. They finally put it out in like 2020, 2021. With like a gorgeous new artwork, a gorgeous new restoration. And so it'd been at the top of my list for a very, 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 very long time of like top tier art house classics that I need to like cross the fuck off. And it's only gained prominence and discussion more and more and more over the years as it's since I first found out about it, as like it's become more available. And holy hell did it not disappoint. I watched another like bold like art house movie that I've been meaning to cross off my list for years earlier this year, which was a Polish movie. It was Andrzej Wajda's Ashes and Diamonds, and that and this are currently sitting at like the top heaters for like the best things I've seen this year. God fucking damn it.
I loved this. I haven't seen a lot of Czech New Wave films. I've seen Daisies. I've seen Valerie and her Week of Wonders. I've probably seen a few more. I don't know. But they're so different than the French New Wave films. And I understand that New Wave just means like a new wave. So they don't have to have anything in common.
Yeah,
but
Japanese
I like
New Wave
these.
is also totally different.
Right.
Well,
I like
this
these
director made
French New Wave.
Morgiana, which you loved.
Oh, yes. Oh, is it the same director? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The French New Wave movies are so languid and kind of like, by comparison, naturalistic, and these movies feel so frantic and fast and kind of collage-y, and it's just a completely different thing, and I loved it.
Yeah, the French New Wave films have a lot of politics to them, but it's in a very like Godard, like I'm gonna sit you down and read you passages from like a Maoist text while we watch a man eat a loaf of bread, and you're like, okay, got it. And this and other Czech movies, like The Fireman's Ball, explore political themes through metaphor and through collage, and like put them like directly in your face.
Is so crazy.
I texted you when I was watching this that the opening credits are maybe my favorite opening credits of anything of all time. They're very me. Good. It's a lot of collaging. It's a lot of like ripping photographs. It's super fucking cool.
Yeah. It has kind of the same, it's not as schizophrenic, but it does have the editing quality of Daisies or something like that. Like Daisies is much crazier and harder to watch than this is, because it's just like it's so fast and crazy and
Daisy's
schizophrenic.
occasionally borderlines and annoying for me, I will
Me
say.
too, but I do like it. I like the style of it. But this has a little bit of that quality too. So I guess before we get too much further, I'll just like loosely say what the plot is. This is a period piece. It was made in the late 60s, but is set in the early 30s in former Czechoslovakia. And so we are following a man whose name is Coppenfinger?
Copperfingal.
Karel
Copperfingal. And he's a cremator.
And he is a cremator, and boy, oh boy, is he ever.
Does he love a little cremation? Dusty little boy.
He's a dusty little boy. He calls the cremation house the Temple of Death. He sees his occupation as like... he sees himself as liberating souls, freeing souls. He's obsessed with Tibet and the Dalai Lama, and gradually is losing his mind and believing that he's the new Buddha, and he's going to go to Tibet and be the Dalai Lama. But as the movie progresses, first of all, basically the whole movie is just a monologue from him through every scene, which is really interesting format. But as the scene progresses, he's losing his mind and becoming more and more enamored with Hitler and the Third Reich, which is on the rise. And it all comes to a horrifying conclusion, basically. I mean, I don't know. Is there anything to add to that?
I mean, he goes from being a small-town cremator to maybe the most infamous cremator of all time on a mass scale. And if you know anything about history and the time that this movie is set, you can kind of start to surmise what happens in there.
Yeah, basically he is asked to create the ovens that will be used in the concentration camps.
And he espouses his, like, beliefs through this whole movie with, like, this glint of glee on his face and this, like, Mr. Rogers-esque quality as he, like, holds his hands on the back of the neck of his wife and children as he walks around their very gothic little apartment, talking about how, like, death will purify us all and, like, we are all ashes. And, like, he thinks it's so lovely and sweet, and he thinks this is for the betterment of humanity, when he's also just a neurotic little fuck who, like, lies to everyone, is, like, has a specific sex worker that he loves to go to all the time, is leching on the, like, cleaning women at the crematorium, and, like...
Yeah, and as he becomes... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's also a hypochondriac and keeps getting his blood drawn by the doctor who lives upstairs above him because he's so terrified that he's gotten some infection from either the sex workers or from the morgue. And
he also wants to see if his blood is Slavic or Germanic.
Yes, after
he's obsessed with purity. He doesn't drink or smoke. His obsession with racial purity becomes more and more extreme. He basically condemns every single person he knows to death because for some reason, minor reason here, made up reason there, they aren't fit to be a part of the new world order. And so
both out of neuroses and also out of, like, you know, personal gain. Oh yeah, the director of the crematorium. Let's get rid of him too. I'll take his job.
Which, by the way, includes his own family, his wife and 2 teenagers. So pretty dark.
In a very methodically slow process. He's also being haunted, sort of, by visions of a woman with long, straight black hair who looks very, very similar to his wife, if not the same person. Yeah. It's... God, what a banger.
It's
what
really
a fucking
good.
banger.
I did pause the movie about 15 minutes in just to get some context. So I'm not a historian, and especially not a European historian, but so if this helps at all, Czechoslovakia was formed as a country after World War I, and it was carved out of territory from the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. And so as a result of that, some of the people that were in this new country were German or Austrian rather, and some of them were Slavic. And so there's kind of like an ethnic tension there. And the area where this takes place, there's a lot of German-speaking Austrians who consider themselves culturally Germanic. And so this was one of the territories that right before going into World War II, Hitler took over So there was a lot of like Nazism here.
Yeah,
so that's what's
leaning
happening.
very specifically on the already existing cultural tensions.
There was like resentment from people who considered themselves culturally Germanic, I think, and so it was easy to exploit them for Hitler.
Yeah, it's very, very, very upsetting. I mean, this movie. This is get ready, listener. This is going to be our most like art housey reference episode yet. If you haven't already realized, in terms of our reference points, this movie reminded me the most of Renefina Fassbinder's 16-hour long Weimar era set drama Berlin Alexanderplatz, which also follows one doofy guy and his like relationship troubles as he's like slowly indoctrinated into like the belief systems of the Third Reich, and it's so fucking dark and grisly, and that he at least like gets out of and like tries to be a better person despite the fact that he's a piece of shit. This little Kevin Spacey looking fuck just wants every little inch of it. He buys it lock, stock, and barrel and loves it. It falls right.
Greaseball.
He like looks and acts like Kevin Spacey. Like, oh my god, I could see like some like if Roman Polanski makes a remake of this with Kevin Spacey in the next 10 years about cancel culture or some shit. I'm gonna be pissed.
The Holocaust is such a horror, of course. It's like one of the greatest horrors that has happened on our globe. But in another way, it's kind of hard to see a new Holocaust movie.
Yeah.
And this really succeeds. This is not like anything I've ever seen before.
It makes every act of horror that you know is to come, and as soon as you set a movie in that part of Europe in that period of time, and you show the like influx of Nazism. I mean, like Cabaret does that a lot. A lot of films do that in ways that are very, different and capture different like modes at the time. This is the most horrifying because it makes all of the horrors to come like personal. It makes every grand scale atrocity very, very, very one-on-one and minute, and it's super fucked up. It's also using like killer POV.
Yeah.
It's using like the like visual language that would go on to partially be a part of the slasher genre. A few years after Psycho and a few years after Peeping Tom. Like, and the editing of this movie is so
top notch.
It's so frenetic in some parts. You'll just get these like cross cuts back between like different images and scenes, but then every scene flows into one another because the top of a new scene is composed and cut to seem like it's the end of the last scene, and then they'll pull out and you'll be like, oh, I'm in a boxing match now. What the fuck? Yeah. This is like every single scene will do that. So it doesn't give you a break, and it just like keeps rolling towards the inevitable every single time. Every single time that you're like, oh no, is that gonna yes, it's happening. It's not going to happen, it's already happening.
And helping that is just the fact that this whole movie is a long monologue by him, basically. Basically, every scene is him
His
talking
wife says
to people.
Nothing.
Yeah, no one ever says anything, basically. It's mostly like him like monologuing at the people around him, these poor dears who are like just stuck listening to this insane person babble on about purity and liberating souls and whatever else. It's great.
The production design also really, really, really needs to be noted.
Gorgeous.
Stunning. This is a black and white film, and it is so textured and layered with the costume design, the production design. There's a scene where he's like showing a new hire around the crematorium, and like, first of all, wide angle lenses. They get used to high heaven in this movie, and it's great. And there's so many rooms in the crematorium that are just like caskets fucking everywhere. It looks like a scene from Reanimator. And then they'll walk into the next room, and it's just like floor to ceiling shelves of urns.
Yeah.
in one of the most beautiful and shocking images I've ever seen. There's also go to this like Grand Guignol waxwork show.
Oh, I forgot I loved that scene.
Oh,
all the waxworks are played by people who are just trying to stand very still, which is so cool.
And they've got a little bit of like caked on makeup to make them look like waxwork figures. And people in the audience can't tell if they're wax or not. And then you'll get inserts on like little metal plates where the knife goes in for little murder set pieces.
Right, they kind of like move like automatons or whatever that word is. And
yeah, automaton. Yeah, it's so fucking cool.
I loved it.
And like his apartment is like, he's the sole person decorating their apartment and he's covered in this like lined wallpaper, and then everything is like a painting of death or like pinned butterflies. Someone gives him a like set of pinned in like funeral flies.
I love the aesthetic of his apartment. I love how obsessed he is with his bathroom. He's like telling his wife, I think this is the most beautiful room in our house. It is a really nice bathroom.
It's a huge bathroom.
And later he's like, he mentions somewhere else, he's like, we'll put this in our beautiful bathroom. And then it cuts to an insert of his bathroom, just his empty bathroom, just to remind you, the viewer, how beautiful his bathroom is. And it's cool. I like that choice. Like anytime he mentions somebody who's not in the scene, it cuts to an insert of that person for a quick second, so it reminds you who that person is. I just thought it was so weird and cool.
There's some like surrealist choices too, because near the beginning, as he's like walking through the zoo with his family, he's like discussing people, then all of a sudden they're there at the zoo. They're there like, oh, he's over there in the distance. Oh, now his son's here. No one exists until he brings them into being in this movie. He really is like the god of this film. He'd like, the world is seen through entirely his lens and his eyes, and you're inside of his head this whole movie. His greasy little overly combed head.
Yeah. I mean, and he does see himself as a god, right? Like he sees himself literally as the new Buddha. So that is totally apt.
This fucker picked up the Tibetan Book of the Dead at one thrift store and it became his entire personality.
Reads Things Falls Apart once. Anytime, this is a diversion, but anytime something even remotely bad happens in my life, I think I'm going to read a Buddhist text. And so I go to a bookstore and I buy a Buddhist book and I bring it home and put it on the shelf next to all of the other Buddhist books that I've never read. And so I have a whole shelf. With Things Fall Apart in particular, I've bought like 3 times. Every time I buy it, I bring it home and like there's 2 other copies of it that I haven't read. And I'm like, I have to stop doing this. Buddhism will not save me.
One of my favorite kind of stylistic choices in this movie is near the end as he's like driving off with his new buddies. We get an image of the book cover, which depicts Tibet kind of overlaid over the like windscreen of the car as if that's what they're driving towards. And it's so simple and it's so collagey and it works really, really, really well. We should also mention the opening credits of this movie are just like cut out collaged limbs like piling on top of each other in like stop motion animation.
It's cool.
Oh, it's
the beginning kind of reminded me of Cat People, actually, because it opens at the zoo. He's taking his family to the zoo, and they're at the leopard exhibit or something like that. And he's like, "This is where we met 19 years ago, my dear." And so
he always calls his wife my enchantress, my precious angel. But he also calls their cat the same nicknames.
Yeah, it's really weird.
This whole movie, they keep picking up the cat by, like, the scruff of its neck and holding it really tightly, like, up to the camera every single time. Oh.
Yeah. This movie is
that
so
poor
cool.
cat.
I loved it so much.
So fucking cool. I mean, I'm trying to think
what else is there to say?
Okay, so if you think this movie is just going to be, like, depressing and tough to watch, it does have those elements, but it has like this glint of glee and like dark humor running through all of it. And one of the weirdest and potentially best examples of that is that there's a running gag this whole movie of a husband and wife couple who keep running into our main character at the Grand Guignol show, at a boxing event, and at a funeral, in which the wife is freaked out by everything.
Yeah.
And the husband keeps getting mad at her and trying to calm her down. So
It's
at the
such an
Grand Guignol
absurdist
show, she keeps being like, it's real, it's all real, oh my god. She keeps screaming over everything until he has to take her out. And at the boxing match, as soon as they show up late everywhere all the time. And she keeps being like, oh my god, it's a butcher shop. It's blood everywhere. They're gonna murder each other. Why would you take me to this thing? And he's just like, please shut up. What are you doing? I can't take you anywhere. And they show up late to a funeral and just like leave immediately.
Yeah, it's such a funny absurdist touch throughout the movie. For me, this movie, I mean, it is a World War II movie. It's a Holocaust movie. It doesn't play like Schindler's List. It's disturbing in the way that a horror movie is disturbing because the story's kept quite small and focused on these people, and you're not seeing the actual atrocities of the Holocaust. They're only being hinted at. So to me, it's a bit easier to watch than some of those Holocaust movies. It's just it's disturbing the way that like a horror movie should be disturbing. So it's a different kind of thing. So if you're worried that you're going to be watching Schindler's List, you're getting something different here.
No, yeah, this isn't Oppenheimer. This isn't even like Europa. This is like, it's not an easy watch. I would say I would put it on the same like psychic plane as something like Peeping Tom or Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or like, American Psycho, movies that like live within the mindset of a killer. For better. And there's like great examples of that. There's also dog shit examples of that. This is one of the better ones. And it's just, I don't know. I think tip to tail, this movie is an enthralling example of filmmaking and of exactly what we're talking about. This is a horror movie in every sense of the word that knows it's a horror movie, that's treating its subject matter, its characters, and its text as a horror movie, but it's also doing it with like a historical context, with a political message, both about the Czech Republic at the time and the Czech Republic in Czechoslovakia in 1969 under communist rule. Commenting in a political sense on both of those periods, not unlike Alex Cox's Walker. And it's truly a fucking avant-garde experimental art house film at the same time as being an easy-to-follow narrative horror movie. It is so exciting. It is so thrilling. I ate it up with a spoon, and I want 7 more. Like, it's very quick. It's very short. It's like barely an hour and a half. And as soon as it was over, I wanted to watch 5 more movies like this.
Yeah, it's so exquisite. Well, let's pivot and play our favorite game, Have They Seen It? A game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures had seen this movie. You mentioned Milos Forman. Do you think that he has seen this?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think, when did Milos Forman get blacklisted in Czech?
I know him because of, I feel like I know him because of Hair, right? The movie, didn't he direct Hair? the film adaptation? So
he made Hair. He also made One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He made Man on the Moon. He made Amadeus. Milos Forman is like the man. So his last Czech film was The Fireman's Ball, in which the communist government seized and kicked him out. And that's when he moved to America. And that was 1967. So he may not have seen he may not have seen the Cremator when it came out in 1969. Unless he saw it at the New York Film Festival or something like that in America.
It's important to point out, too, I guess, this movie got lost in the shuffle of the fall of communism in that country, and so it was completely unavailable until 1990, Wikipedia says. So there were like 2 decades when you like could not see this movie anywhere.
I mean, it's a similar fate befell The Fireman's Ball and a few other incredible Czech films. We're only just now recently getting a lot of these Czech and Polish films coming out, and I'm so fucking happy to finally have these. I think he probably, unless it played at the New York Film Festival in 69-70, I feel like he would have seen it there. If not, I don't think he would have seen it. I don't think by the 90s or the early 2000s he would have had a desire to go back to that period.
I bet you're right. Oh, by the way, this was also submitted for Best Foreign Film for the Oscars, but was not accepted.
Lame.
It's lame.
That's awesome that the Czech Republic loved this movie enough to set forward.
It seemed like it had some esteem there.
Such a funky little movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm thinking more about who's an incredible director in our contemporary landscape that makes horror films with this kind of experimental quality and social conscious lens. And I don't know so much about a social conscious lens, but I do know a director these days who does love to edit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Rob Zombie has seen The Cremator? Art house horror filmmaker Rob Zombie?
I don't know. I mean, Rob Zombie's really smart. I assume that he's well watched, I think he watches broadly. I can see him watching this and really liking it, but this is sexist of me. I have a really hard time imagining Sherry Moon Zombie watching this movie. So if he did watch it, I think he watched it alone. I believe he has Criterion, and I believe that he has seen this. That's my final answer.
I feel like he's seen this. I feel like if he hasn't seen it, I feel like it's potentially on his list. I feel like he would fucking love it. I could see Sherry Moon watching this with him.
I could see her watching it with him too. I don't know. Ever since she supported, she did an Instagram post that's supporting the convoy. Remember that thing? The Canadian convoy.
I was against COVID measurements.
Who are you? So ever since then, I'm maybe she's not that smart and cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like she would if they watched it together on date night on the couch with a big tub of popcorn. They would both find a lot of macabre glee in the dark humor and pacing of this movie, and I feel like they would both have screenshots of this movie and a lot of home decor Pinterest boards.
For me, I will say there's a kind of a buy-in for this movie. There's a long scene in the beginning at a restaurant or something like that, and it's a party, and I truly, for that whole long scene, had no idea what was happening, and I had to kind of read the Wikipedia synopsis of it, and then after that, the movie became clearer to me. But so that scene for me was a little bit of a buy-in, or I had to kind of persevere through it because I did not know what was happening.
Yeah, the opening credits are a fucking banger and sell you on the movie. And then the first few scenes, it's a little jarring and it takes a minute. I also had to step away for other reasons, but I had to pause and step away from the movie around 15, 20 minutes and then got back into it a little later in the day. But I had a former boss want to see this movie a year or two ago, and was very much into this kind of filmmaking. And then he came to me one day, a week later, and was like, "I watched The Cremator and I turned it off." And I was like, "What? It wasn't good?" And he's like, "It was just so boring. I couldn't get into it." And so I think he had a similar buy-in problem.
Yeah,
right. Though I think he would have loved it had he finished it.
Yeah, that was my experience. As soon as that scene was out of the way and I understood what was happening, I loved it. And all that's just to say, I feel like someone like Sherry Moon Zombie might check out during that scene. So,
or if she for some reason Rob was watching it alone down in the basement and she came in midway through and flopped down, she would adore it. So,
I am trying to think of a single famous Czech person or someone from Prague, and I cannot come up with anybody. And my mind led me instead to the pop singer Robin, who is in fact Scandinavian, which is a different part of Europe entirely. But do you think Robin has seen The Cremator?
I do not.
No, there's no way.
I think this is a little bit further down the rabbit hole of a movie, which there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with. But, and again, Robin, if you're listening, check out The Cremator. It's streaming. You would love it.
Yeah, Criterion.
But no, I feel like this movie has a I don't know. It's not an easy find. It hadn't been an easy find. It is nowadays, but only if you're looking for it. There's no marketing for The Cremator. There's no Twitter thread about why you have to watch The Cremator. You know what I mean?
Wait, I have an extra one.
Oh, go.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got so excited by the question. Do you think that Ingmar Bergman saw this?
Oh, that's a great question. Because this is like right around the time that Ingmar Bergman started to get weirder.
Yeah.
Around the time that he started making like Persona and Hour of the Wolf and started like making movies like more similar to this than Wild Strawberries and Seven Seal and stuff like that. I feel like he would have loved this movie.
Me too. It feels very Ingmar Bergman in a weird way.
He would have adored. Yeah, the macabre like love of death and also like sense of humor, because Bergman movies underratedly very funny.
Very funny, yeah.
Intentionally so. Also melodramatic and heavy and important and about, God and life and our place in the universe and things like that. I think he would have loved this movie. I hope he saw it. I hope that it was distributed in Sweden. I hope that Svensk Film Industry put out a version of it in the 70s and that he went to a film festival and got to see it. I really think he would have loved this movie. I hope, by the early 2000s, near his passing, when he was watching White Men Can't Jump and Die Hard, because apparently those are movies that he owned.
Love that so much.
Hopefully he was like talking with someone and was like, yeah, the Cremator is very good. I hope it has a release. I would love to see it again. I was going to do an impression, but I realized it would just be the Swedish chef from the Muppets, and I don't want to besmirch someone that I love as much as Ingmar Bergman by doing that. I have someone else in mind, or at least I did until it disappeared. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have someone else in mind. Speaking of like Twitter and kind of more like influencer voices, because this movie has had a resurgence both in like its availability, but I do feel like, with like the rise of Letterboxd and stuff like that, people are discussing it more and seeing it more. Like it's on Letterboxd's like top like 25 horror movies list, and like it's that highly ranked. Like it's by in the users.
90th percentile in Rotten Tomatoes as well.
Yeah, it's very, very highly regarded in those things. So I think that's how a lot of people these days are discovering it. So do you think actress, Twitter celeb, and star of the new movie Bottoms, Rachel Sennott, has seen The Cremator?
I don't know that much about Rachel Sennott other than I loved her in Bodies, 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 and I love her TikTok that went viral of, hey, come on, it's LA, a few years ago. That's what I know about her. I like her very much. I think she's very funny. I don't know how, smart, or not smart, I don't know how much she is into, indie films or foreign films. I imagine kind of a lot because she's in Shiva Baby. I want to say no. Just based on the fact that you and I have just seen this and we watch a lot of these movies. So I want to say no. I think she'd like it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like she'd dig it. I feel like I'm probably always going to say no, but honestly, Rachel, honey, darling, give it a shot. Put a spark in your life.
Yeah. Is Rachel Sennott Jewish?
She's not Jewish. This is a thing that people have been pointing out that Bottoms is now out. That they're like, did you know that Rachel Sennott is goy? And you're like, yeah. She just has big Jewish energy. I don't know.
I learned a fact yesterday that is wild to me because I've lived in only New York and LA, basically. Guess what percentage of the world's population is Jewish?
What? 0.5% or something? Yeah.
Yeah, less than 1%. That's crazy to me because I know so many Jewish people and always have.
I mean, they are a minority. They are
Oh, well, I know, but I didn't know that they were that much of a minority. There are more Mormons than there are Jewish people.
That's scary.
Just insane.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I have a friend who is Jewish, but she is both a queer woman and dresses a lot like Rachel Sennott. She visually looks not dissimilar to Rachel Sennott, and her voice is at a very similar husky timbre to Rachel Sennott. And I was like, oh, I hope she sees Bottoms. I think she's gonna like Bottoms a lot. And then she reviewed it on Letterboxd, giving it only 3 stars. It was Rachel Sennott is so annoying, and I was like, oh Oh, no.
no.
Oh, honey, how do I break it to you?
The call is coming from inside the house. That's always the case, right? Like, I find if I really dislike somebody, it's like usually I'm seeing something in myself in them without realizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode of Bloodhouse. Please watch The Cremator on Criterion. It's exquisite. It's 5 stars. You would love it. If you like this show, please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at BloodhousePod. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. Drusilla, where are you?
You can find me and my art over at sisterhidedesign.com. I have some new posters for The Cure's Chicago show on their tour available. So go snatch those up while you still can. Hopefully I can ship those out soon, but the pre-order, I think, should be happening. Now, I don't know, this episode was recorded in advance, so maybe they're all sold out. Maybe there was a fire and they all got cremated. I don't know. You should go buy some before that happens. You can also follow me on Instagram at Hide Sister, the inversion of Sister Hide. My brand is not Hide Sister, my brand is Sister Hide. I just wasn't able to get that Instagram at. And you can also follow me on Letterboxd. Just search for Drusilla Adeline and you can find out what I thought of the Chris Elliott classic Cabin Boy. I'm not going to mention it on mic, but you can read it there. Josh, what about you? Where can people read your thoughts on Cabin Boy?
They can't, but I should review that because you know what? I saw that in the theater when it came out. I'm at Joshua Conkle on Twitter. No, not on Twitter. That's a habit. I'm not on Twitter. I deleted Twitter. I'm at Joshua Conkle on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. So next week, we got a roughie.
Next week, if you thought The Cremator was rough, imagine The Cremator, but with more standardized editing and less of a sense of humor. That's right, we're going to Chicago. We're getting an all-beef hot dog with a pickle on the side. We're going to go visit the Bear and the Bean, and we're going to go watch Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Usually I say, can't wait at the end of this episode, but I can wait for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's a rough one, but I'm excited to talk about it.
It's going to be fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.